the vacant EFC Middleweight Championship of the world.
The Black Mamba from the UK, Yannick Bahati, taking on Tinkerbell, JP Kruger, straight out of South Africa.
Let the battle begin!
Very, very crisp early on. It doesn't look like ring rust is a factor for Kruger, not early on at least. Standing some good shots here, those kicks to the body, the strikes are coming through. The distance he's negating very well.
Going into this fight, a lot of people felt that Kruger might start off slow due to 2 years worth of ring rust. But actually, it was the exact opposite.
And it just fired him up for a win.
So crisp as Kruger. Bahati's in trouble here, Cyrus.
You're absolutely right, but now he's got him locked up.
My strategy wasn't to play defensive on the feet. He just done my slow starter and had a slow start on the feet. But he was a bit too over-aggressive in striking, so the takedown was just there for the calling, so I thought, why not take the takedown? And once we hit the ground, I predicted, like I said, he's a white belt on the mat. Once I pass his guard, I'll submit him, and that's what I did.
But he's never looked this good standing in EFC's hexagon. Now Bahati, big takedown. Now this is his world, straight into side control. JP's in trouble here. Bahati can pop this out and bring it to the sky.
That's nasty.
This might be it, Cyrus.
Oh, that's nasty.
He
And
gets
that's it.
Beautifully done by Yannick Bahati.
Black Mamba has a victim. He strikes, and Tinkerbell heads back to Neverland. Here's your champion. It is Yannick Bahati.
And the new EFC Middleweight Champion of the world, Yannick Black Mamba Bahati.
I'm here with your winner, Yannick Bahati. Yannick, you were so fired up at the weigh-ins yesterday. How does it feel? You've got the crown.
For me, this is a big dream for me to come true. I've been working towards this goal for a long time, so I'm very proud of myself.
The newly crowned middleweight champion was on top of the world, but a new challenger to his crown was announced a mere hours after Bahati's victory.
Yeah, Yannick he's got an impressive top game. I think his striking's a little bit dodgy, you know. There's some holes in his games, which I've seen, and I reckon I can expose them.
This is my first time meeting him, and my first impression is that I believe that Brewski's best days are gone. He gave up his belt to his teammate, and he's thinking he's going to try and get mine. That's not going to happen.
The gauntlet was thrown down by Brewski, and Bahati now clearly knew what was waiting for him. He had a lot to ponder on his flight back to Birmingham.
Winning the EFC middleweight belt, for me, was a big dream that I achieved. I've been working towards that goal for quite a while. I stated, as I signed a contract with the EFC, that my goal was to become the EFC middleweight champion. So, of course, for me, that was definitely a big dream come true for me.
You could see how much winning the belt has meant to Bahati, and he has lived up to his own claims that he is the best middleweight in the EFC. Confidence is everything in MMA, and Bahati has loads of it.
My confidence comes from my mindset and my hard work. I believe I'm the best middleweight, but also now I believe that my mindset has gone stronger, and I believe I'm the best fighter at the EFC.
Bahati is a confident man and an undaunted champion, and his preparation for his first title defense has sharpened the Birmingham behemoth to new levels. But while skills were being honed at UTC, news out of South Africa was that his opponent, the former welterweight champion David Brewski, was injured.
Sadly, David Brewski was out of EFC 53 with a knee injury picked up during training. This was a big setback, not only for Brewski, but for the EFC 53 card as well. But Brewski's teammate and former welterweight champion Michiel Opperman stepped up to the plate and made the decision to take the fight with Bahati, but with 2 stipulations: that it be at catchweight and not a title fight.
I think it's a combination of 2 things. One thing is that David gave up his title, so my best friend can get a title shot. And then I just think it's wrong if I just take that away from David. That wasn't part of the deal in the beginning. As well as I think I'm a bit too heavy to cut down all the way to middle, as I wasn't supposed to fight. So I think it's going to be fun.
This is a great opportunity for Opperman to re-establish himself as one of the big names in the EFC. But Bahati is less than impressed with his new opponent.
I was definitely disappointed that Brzeski pulled out of the fight. To be honest, personally, I thought that he'll pull out anyway. I just felt like a vibe towards him when I first met him at EFC 49 at the press conference. And I felt like his best days are done, that it wasn't really interesting in the contest, to be honest. No, I don't believe Opperman is a bigger challenge. I believe Brzeski is the better fighter. Opperman is washed up, he's a journeyman. And I think his best day is done.
I don't think so. I think I am the best shape I've ever been, especially now, going into this fight. Especially mentally, I think that's maybe where I was lacking for a long period of time. Maybe that's why I went up and down a little bit. I've worked a lot on certain elements of my life as well as my fighting, and I think it will show in the night.
Bahati made it quite clear what he thought of his new opponent, but he needs to be very careful. Opperman is a former champion and one hell of a tough guy.
Michiel Opperman has been a dominant force in the EFC, claiming the welterweight title in spectacular fashion.
Opperman has still got that body triangle. He's trying for the neck break.
Oh, he's working so hard here.
It's dangerous for Jadison.
Oh my word! It's a huge upset! A huge upset!
Opperman,
Unbelievable! I can't believe it! The dark horse has triumphed! He's beaten the Brazilian master!
But since claiming the title, Opperman's fortunes took a turn for the worst, losing the title to Bahati at EFC 24. Then, losing his next 2 fights, the former champ was now sitting on a 3-fight losing streak.
Although enjoying a lot of success at welterweight, Opperman was clearly struggling to make the weight cut every time.
Moving up to middleweight was the best decision for Opperman and his camp, and it paid off in that first fight back inside the hexagon, going to battle against one of the toughest athletes in the EFC.
And that was the instruction from Smith's corner. Wait back, wait for him to come in and attack you. Oh! Big knee! Smith is in trouble!
Dropped him! He's dropped him! Smith is in serious trouble! Opperman caught him with a knee!
This could be all over. Referee's having a close
How
look.
is Smith
Has he
still
recovered?
standing? How is
Opperman
that?
throwing shot.
Oh my goodness me! Are you kidding?
Opperman dropped Jeremy Smith. I think that's the first time that's happened.
So tough as Smith!
He was in big trouble. I think he has recovered.
He's recovered well, has Smith.
Big right landed by Smith. Shots to the top and to the body. 30
Opperman is taking
seconds to
a
go.
beating.
Opperman lands a right of his own though. Opperman now taking shot after shot from Smith.
How tough is Opperman?
To the winner by split decision, Michiel Opperman!
Then, in his next fight against Armand de Brain, Opperman stamped his authority on the division.
Man won't hate this in the clinch, and you can see it's wrestling against judo for De Brain and Opperman, but now Opperman has got De Brain's back and he's got an arm trapped in an awkward position. Now he's going to try and set up the guillotine choke. Looks like Opperman has got that underneath the chin. De Brain's in big trouble here, and he gets the victory.
Declaring the winner by tap out due to a guillotine, Michiel Opperman!
Opperman was looking great at middleweight, and with a title vacated by Gareth McClellan, his opportunity for EFC gold came sooner than expected. Unfortunately, things did not go his way in that fight.
Somewhere in the second round, I broke my hand, so it was very difficult then to hold on and to do certain things, and I made technical mistakes. I wanted to go for a shoulder throw, which you don't actually technically do in MMA because you don't have a gi and you tend to slip off his head. That's normally what happens. And then he got my back, and I thought to myself, I'm just going to chill a bit here, just gather myself and go from there. And obviously that just was too long, and I lost the round, and then it just progressed from there. Instead of being on the front foot, I caused it to become a 50-50 fight, and I was just not able to then step up in the 4th and 5th round.
A disappointing loss for Opperman, and with further injuries keeping him out of the hexagon for over a year, the Dark Horse will be champing at the bit to return to the EFC battleground. and he will get his chance at EFC 53 against the current middleweight champion, Yannick Bahati.
Regardless, I don't really care about ring rust or no ring rust, so I'm just looking forward to fighting and focusing on myself and just getting the win. So ring rust for him, I don't really care, to be honest.
I think what makes it maybe a bit easier is that we've seen him a couple of times now in EFC. We've seen his strengths and his gaps and his weaknesses. From our point of view, it's all the same. It can be Mike Tyson, it can be Yannick Bahati, it can be anybody. It stays a fight to me.
Talking about the pullout, it's no surprise to me because all my EFC matchups, my opponent have pulled out the last 2 weeks. So I'm kind of used to it by now, so I ain't too surprised, to be honest. So I don't really care if they pull out on me 1 week, 2 weeks, the same day. I won't be surprised if someone pulls out when I get there, so I'm not too fussed.
Regardless of what weight class this is, if the title is on the line or not, it's clear that both these guys have something to prove at EFC 53. Bahati wants to make an example of Opperman and stamp his dominance on the division, and Opperman wants to prove that he is still a massive danger in the organization. This is clearly going to be an explosive war.
My opinion of Opperman is that he's a journeyman. His best days are done, and I think he should retire. He's been knocked out before, and I look forward to doing that again.
This is my country, this is my place. So he can bring whatever he wants. I know I'm going to beat him. That's just how it's going to be.
Two of the most skilled MMA athletes in the organization will step inside the hexagon to prove to the world who is the best as the current middleweight champion, England's Yannick Bahati, goes head-to-head with the former welterweight champion, South Africa's Michiel Opperman.
Originally, Yannick Bahati was set to face former welterweight champion David Bursky for the middleweight title. Bursky got injured, and up steps his teammate, another former welterweight champion, Michiel Opperman, to take on the Birmingham Behemoth. Although this fight will be at catchweight and the title won't be on the line, don't expect for a second that this fight will not be one for the ages.
Birmingham's Yannick Bahati has been a destructive force in the EFC, taking down crowd favorite J.P. Kruger in spectacular fashion to become the EFC middleweight champion. And although this fight with Opperman will not be for the title, Bahati is still determined to give it his all and prove that he is the best in the business.
Yes, it's definitely disappointed that I won't be defending my belt at EFC 53. The main thing is I got a fight, so I can put on a good show for the fans. As long as I get a fight, that's the main thing, so I'm not too disappointed.
Former welterweight champion Michiel Opperman steps up for his injured teammate and knows that a win over the current champion will place him back at the top of the pecking order. An incredibly skilled fight finisher, Opperman will severely test Bahati's champion credentials.
I am in an awesome mindset. I've got everything to gain. So it's going to be awesome. I know. I'm looking forward to the fight, so it's going to be incredible.
Both these guys have incredible skill and the talent to finish the fight quickly. Is Bahati maybe a little bit overconfident? Or will the ring rust get to Opperman? We will have to wait and see, but I know I can't wait.
Will the strength and power of the Black Mamba be too much for his South African opponent? Or will the experience and tenacity of the Dark Horse see his hand raised and the UK powerhouse downed?
I'll be able to exploit his stand-up. His stand-up is pretty lethargic and one-dimensional. But again, it's MMA, so we're going to wrestle, and I cannot wrestle him. I cannot grapple him, so it will be fun.
If he thinks my stand-up is weak, here and there I've got my background is striking. I haven't had a chance to show that striking because the old rubbish on the mat, the old white belt on the mat. So if he thinks that, we'll see on the night. But my plan is to keep the fight standing. He's been knocked out before, and I look forward to doing that again. To beat him will be good for my career as well, and where I feel I deserve to be, and I know I'm going to beat him. That's just how it's going to be. My fans can expect at EFC 53 that I'm going to knock out Mr. Opperman stiff till his toes are curling.
Two of the world's top sporting nations are set to collide inside the hexagon as the EFC middleweight champion, the United Kingdom's Yannick Bahati, takes on the former welterweight champion, South Africa's Michiel Opperman. This is EFC 53. Yannick Bahati was crowned middleweight champion after defeating South Africa's J.P. Kruger with a phenomenal display of submission wrestling. But his first title defense will have to wait as he faces the MMA dark horse, Michiel Opperman, a former champion and late replacement for the injured David Bursky. Nations collide as the United Kingdom's Yannick Bahati clashes with South Africa's Michiel Opperman. EFC 53, UK versus South Africa. Friday, 2 September, Carnival City. Tickets and broadcast information at efcworldwide.com.